And so it's really important that your data is up to date, both in terms of the accuracy, but also the audit trail down the road. There's a lot of things that we see out there, and I'll just reference a couple of them. One is we're collecting throughout the US, right, in various states, but we're not even registered or remitting in that state, right? That's an illegal activity. And if you can believe it, we come across this from time to time. It's something that you want to avoid at all costs. You want to be registered to remit, and you want to turn that state on as of the effective date of that registration and start collecting. You're also not filing on time and past due liabilities accruing P&I. And P&I adds up over time. And I think that the key is making sure that you're doing it on time. If you have any past dues, getting those addressed quickly, so you're not accruing that liability. The cash versus accrual accounting conversation is an interesting one. For the most part, companies we work with, it's almost instantaneous, right? The invoice to cash, processing the payment, realizing the cash is usually a very quick process. But there are companies out there that will do things like sign up for a free trial, like almost like a non-binding agreement that becomes an annual agreement if you decide to move forward past 30 days. And they'll have a lot of cancellations after the 30 days, or there could be situations with bad payments where the payment doesn't go through and they can never collect the cash from the customer, even though they recognize the order within the original purchase. There's other things around milestones. We purchased the software, but we're going to be paid over specific milestones of that scenario. We align with, at Zamp, all of our integrations support accrual standards. That's what the states prefer. And I think that the cash conversation, we do have customers that use cash basis. We base it off of the data that you send us. But I would say that if you're using cash basis accounting today, look at processes and areas that you can improve in terms of your billing standards, how you're recognizing things, so you can move more towards an accrual standard ideally, because I think that's going to align better with state standards, and investors prefer that as well. Quoting. So you may do quoting in your quote to cash, order to cash process. Customers will say, hey, wait, the cost was X and you're charging me X plus 9% or whatever the rate is. Why didn't you tell me that up front? I didn't budget for that. So just including a tax estimate or calculation as part of your quoting process, I think is going to be really important. It provides a better customer experience. They're going to know that true cost up front. Exempt buyers, you may have a lot of exemption buyers tied to whether it's government or resale or whatever that is, but you're not collecting the exemption certificates. That is the low-hanging fruit the auditor will go after. If you get a sales tax audit, make sure you're collecting those certs, and then also make sure they're up to date. Some states require you to update them on either an annual basis, biannual basis. Some don't require it, but I think you need a process to support those if you are dealing with a lot of exempt customers. The next one is the classic bad or incomplete customer data. And this could be tied to address data. So the address information you have in QBO, for example, is not complete, or you're not correctly marking your customers as exempt within your customer master data. Any sales tax service or solution that you provide, that you work with, this is really important because one, not only does it support the accurate calculation of the sales tax based on the location and the customer exemption or non-exemption, the other piece is it's also then archived and provides that audit trail that if you ever do get audited by the state and they want to take the big number down to the small number, they're going to want you to take the liability you collected down to the jurisdiction level, down to the transaction level, and down to the line item level within each order. You need a snapshot of that flow and why you made those decisions. And so it's really important that your data is up to date, both in terms of the accuracy, but also the audit trail down the road. The final point is international VAT. You start selling your product, your software overseas. There are the EU, for example, will say, on first sale, you have to start collecting VAT. Now they provide options like the mini one-stop shop, MOS, which centralizes the filing, reporting and filing across all of the EU countries. They are working to make it easier, but there definitely is, if you are selling internationally, you want to know the rules of these countries as a digital seller, software seller, because that can have impact down the road, especially when it becomes material over time.